I am fresh back from a recent family trip to Walt Disney World where we attended our very first Mickey's Very Merry Christmas party. And so I thought I would give you all of the details about how we planned for our party and what we experienced while we were there so that you can get some ideas for your visit to Mickey's Very Merry Christmas party in the next couple parties that are available this year or even in 2025. Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party, for those of you who don't know, is a specially ticketed event that happens at Magic Kingdom Park on select nights in November and December every year. These parties sell out, so the key is to get your tickets early once you have your trip booked so that you can make sure that you're able to attend on the night that you choose. The party starts at 7 p.m. and goes until midnight on those nights, but you can get in with your party ticket as early as 4 p.m. on your party day. You can also have a daytime ticket in addition to your party ticket and go during the day. Depending on your family, your dynamic, or what you're looking to do, that can be an option. For me, it's definitely not an option for us. We had a 7 and 4-year-old on our trip, and so I just knew that trying to get them to stay up till closer to midnight would mean that we needed to have a little more of a chill day before we attended the party. So what we did was we actually explored our resort, took some time to just enjoy the scenery, a little more of a slow start, and then we were able to attend our party and make it for most of the night, which I was really excited about. So for Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party, as I mentioned, you can get in as early as 4. And what I will share is it was crazy busy starting around 3 o'clock. I was watching the crowds just continue to build and build and build to the point where it was hundreds of people just waiting to get into the party at 4 o'clock. If you want to wait in line, that's a great option. You can get in there really early. However, I would actually suggest just planning to get there more like 4:45 or even 5 o'clock. You're still going to be there well before the party officially starts, and you can actually avoid some of those crowds. Once the gates open at 4, they do move really quickly, so I don't think it's necessary to get there at exactly 4 o'clock or even an hour before 4 o'clock to wait in those lines if you don't want to. So pro tip, if you're adverse to lines, as I am, especially with little kids, just plan to get there closer to 5. You're going to be fine. We ended up walking straight in and we got there about 5:15. So be prepared that the transportation going to those parties may also be a little bit more congested. So we were staying at Port Orleans Riverside. We took the the bus, and it was definitely a crowded bus ride. So just keep in mind as you're thinking about getting there, give yourself a little more time than you would normally. Once we got into the party, they give you a wristband that you get to wear, and you need to wear it all night long. Everyone in your party has to have one. As the day kind of ends for the daytime guests and the party starts to pick up, there are multiple points throughout the beginning of the party where cast members will be asking for you to wave your hand so they can see that you're wearing a wristband, knowing that you are a guest that should be staying for the party. If you do not have a wristband, they will be escorting you, ushering you kind of out the other side of the park to leave the park by 6 p.m. So that period of time from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. can be still kind of crowded. You've got your daytime people that are still there. You've got early party guests that have arrived. So a lot of that time is really best spent maybe riding a few rides or getting some food because there are a lot of food locations that will close down during the party. So if you want to get your meals in, that's a good time to do it. Kind of have your plan before you go. When you get your wristband, you're also going to want to pick up your party map. This amazing pamphlet has your map and all of the special details about what you can expect for your party. This includes special foods and treats that are going to be around, locations for where you can expect to meet characters. And basically it's broken down by land for you to see and kind of get an idea of what do you want to do in each part of the park and what are some of those special entertainment options as well. So make sure you pick up one of these maps. It's also in the My Disney Experience app, but honestly, when it's dark and you're kind of navigating through things, it's a little bit easier to use it on your phone, or have one of these maps handy and you already know kind of where you want to be. So as you walk in, they're going to continue to kind of usher all of the party guests to the right up Main Street. You're kind of going to skip Main Street by the castle, so you're not going to get that castle shot. You're going to turn closer to where the restaurants are, and they're going to kind of take you down this back alleyway-ish. They're going to have a DJ back there. It was really fun energy. There were some characters to meet, like gingerbread men. Snow angels were there to meet. Snope was falling. It was just super magical. And they're also going to give you your free included with your ticket, Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party ornament that you will get for your tree at home. So there was a nice beginning way to start. As you walk in, there's tons of photo ops, and we kind of just worked our way back a little bit, and there's just great photo pass opportunities throughout that whole area. So definitely take advantage of that if you want. It is kind of a busy lane as people are all moving in and kind of getting into the park to where they want to be. So for us, I knew that the one thing we wanted to do at 6:15 was watch the Frozen Castle show. Just something that we don't always see, and it's a special event for the party. It actually starts before the party officially kicks off, and I thought, well, if we can't make it late at night, we can at least watch this first show. So we were able to watch it right in the castle hub area, really close to the front of the castle. Had a great view, enjoyed every moment of it. If you want to see that, I also have some video on my Facebook. Did a Facebook Live when we were watching that event. From there, it gets a little busy. It can feel a little crowded. Again, people are still leaving from the daytime guests, and everyone else is kind of figuring out, like, where do I want to go? So with our kids, we knew that we wanted to go explore Storybook Circus because there's a Santa meeting back there, which at the beginning of the party was already about a 45-minute to an hour-long wait. So kind of keeping in mind, like, what you want to do, you want to prioritize. We knew that we had another Magic Kingdom day during our visit, and so riding rides was not our priority at the party. We wanted to do all of the things that you could only do at the party. So seeing the shows, the live entertainment, the parade, the fireworks, some of the rare character meetings, those were the things that we really wanted to spend our time doing. And so we didn't really go hard and fast after the rides. With that being said, as we were working our way slowly with the crowds back towards Storybook Circus, everyone was kind of peeling off. And you could tell that there were two different directions. A lot of people went to Space Mountain and they were planning to get on that early overlay ride to see the lights lit up with that kind of Trans-Siberian Orchestra music that they have at Space Mountain during the party. So a lot of people went that direction, and a lot of others were going to Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, trying to get a lower wait time for that ride. So we thought, well, we're not doing either of those things. So we ended up randomly just walking directly onto Mad Tea Party. The kids love spinning the teacups, so we did that. Got light in my face from my window, so I'm gonna kind of move back a little bit, move forward a little bit, even better. So we went and rode the teacups and then worked straight back to Storybook Circus. Storybook Circus was really a nice addition this year to the party. A lot of lights, a lot of theming, and a lot of characters that you could meet back there. It really felt like a magical winter wonderland. It was a great place to kind of get away from some of the busier crowds, especially if you have younger kids. So we went back there. We rode Dumbo. Again, it was a walk-on. They said, which Dumbo ride do you want to ride? Because lightning lanes they're not being used during party nights. And so we got right on our Dumbo, flew around, saw all the lights lit up. It was so beautiful. And as soon as we got off, the party started. It was 7 o'clock. There were some elves that we got to meet and take some pictures with. There were some polar bears that were really sweet. We got our popcorn bucket and filled up for the night to kind of keep our energy and our snacks flowing throughout the evening. And then we started on our list of things that we knew we wanted to do. So I wanted to definitely take the kids to kind of get that energy going over to Tomorrowland and to visit the Club Tinsel event that was happening. This is a DJ-led dance party with a lot of fun characters. The cast of characters were awesome. We had Judy Hopps, we had Chip and Dale, Santa Goofy, Max was there. A lot of really fun characters, and they were on stage performing songs and singing a bunch of songs, but also they were on the ground in the dance floor area with all the kids and the adults that were having a great time. This was really fun. My millennial heart was soaring because we were able to listen to a ton of like 90s and early 2000s music, which was a really, really kind of fun way to start the night. The kids were dancing. They were having tons of quality time with these characters. Club Tinsel did not disappoint, and it really kind of set the tone for the rest of the evening. Now, if you have younger kids, maybe toddlers, who are really into Disney Junior characters, there's also another Disney Junior kind of character themed dance party happening in Cosmic Rays. So you can go over there and experience that. We were able to walk through there to get our cookies and cocoa, which were free at different spots throughout the party night. And we saw Doc McStuffins, we saw Vampirina, and then we also saw Timon. So younger kids, that's another great dance party option. There's also seating in there, so you can take a seat while your kids dance around with the characters. Those dance parties are super fun. So from the dance parties, we decided, okay, let's start getting some of those things in that we wanted to do. So my daughter, as many young girls are, is a super fan of Elsa and Anna. So Elsa and Anna were actually meeting in Fairy Tale Hall in their Christmas dresses, which is really rare to see them in outside of a parade or a castle show. And so we were able to wait there for them. We waited about 25 minutes, and that during that time, my husband took my son over to Tomorrowland Speedway, and they rode that ride, which is super cute. I'm not a huge fan, honestly, of Tomorrowland Speedway. I think it needs a bit of a revamp, and if I could put energy out into the world, I would say just go ahead and make that like a Cars ride, or can we just do something different with it? Let's please revamp that ride soon. But anyway, they went and rode that. And what's nice about the parties is they actually decorate the whole area along the tracks with Christmas decorations and Christmas lights. So if you're not a super fan of Tomorrowland Speedway, I understand. I'm the same way. But during Christmas time at the party, it's actually a little bit better to ride it that way. It's lit up. It's really pretty. You've got more to look at than just kind of that circular track that you take with the loud noises and all that. So we did that. We met back up again, and we did a few magic shots. We found this really cute, and I'll put some pictures in, magic shots of like Tinkerbell inside of the lantern that my kids took pictures with her. We saw some characters that were outside meeting, like Aurora and Prince Philip, and there were some different characters that were kind of rotating at that time. So we did that, had a lovely time. And then we picked up a couple different cookie spots. So we did visit Cosmic Rays for cookies and cocoa. And then we also kind of worked our way over to Liberty Square and did some cookies and cocoa over at Columbia Harbor House. We were able to catch the end, the kind of the middle to end of the parade at that point, the earlier parade. And my kids were kind of going strong. So we thought, okay, we're just going to keep going and we'll hope to catch the rest of the parade later, the 11 o'clock show. Fingers crossed we make it that long. And at least we were able to see Santa in the parade. We were able to see the reindeer, the toy soldiers, like really some of those special moments that happen in the Very Merry Christmas parade. All right. So as we were walking away from the parade, we're trying to kind of work our way back to figuring out what do we do next. And we decided that it would be just good to cut through. And we came by the gazebo behind Liberty Square. And if you don't know, it's a common place for characters to meet. And we kind of just were happening across Mirabel and Bruno, and they didn't have anyone waiting for them. So we quickly met with Mirabel and Bruno, and it was probably my daughter's one of her favorite interactions throughout the entire trip. They were super fun. They were playing off of each other's energy, just kind of sharing like funny little stories with her. So Mirabel and Bruno, you made our day. It was really special to kind of spend some time with them and get some photos. We also took some magic shots in Liberty Square. If you don't know, there's a really great magic shot location that they kind of use for both the Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party and the Halloween party, where they'll superimpose in some extra characters for you. And so we had no idea who we were going to be pictured with. And as you can see, we were pictured with the Muppets, and it was really awesome. And it was a cute photo that we got to take home. All right. So as we were kind of working our way through our list of things that we wanted to do on this trip, we knew that we had to get a good spot for the fireworks. And the other thing that I knew we needed to do was my son, who is almost 5, is a super fan of Jack and Sally from Nightmare Before Christmas. Now, if you know, and you've been around a bit, you know that waiting in line for Jack and Sally can be really long at these parties because they only show up during these party nights. It's the only time to meet them. It's a really special character meeting. It's in Town Square at the very front of the park, right where you usually meet Mickey. And so we said, well, these kids are not going to wait for an hour. They're not going to wait for an hour and a half. We really got to time this right. So what we did was we actually watched the fireworks from the very back of Main Street, right in front of the big tree. And we got a great view of all of the fireworks. They were absolutely stunning. And as we were there, just kind of working our way through it, we watched the fireworks and we very quickly took a hard right and went into Town Square. And we only waited about 10 minutes for Jack and Sally at that point. So my advice would be if Jack and Sally are a must for you, maybe try to watch the timing with the parades, watch the timing with the fireworks, and try to meet them during a parade or right at the tail end of a parade or fireworks, because at that point, your wait's going to be so much shorter. And it was a really cool interaction. They have it all set up and decorated in a really cool way in there. They spent tons of time with us. It didn't feel rushed at all. And it was the very last thing that we did before we headed out at the end of the night. So I would just say plan accordingly, but definitely take advantage of those times when parades or fireworks or other activities are happening to go visit some of those characters that otherwise would give you a really long wait. All right, that's kind of a quick overview of how we spent our time and just a few things that I learned throughout and kind of in hindsighting our experience. Definitely make a plan to eat a good dinner before you go. There aren't a lot of options, especially like kid-friendly options that are going to be open during the party. So it's really important that you get a good meal in, whether it's at your resort, at a monorail resort nearby, or even in the park before the party starts. You're going to want to be able to sit down, eat a good meal, because having all that sugar from the cookies and the cocoa and all the snacks that you may be eating and some of those special treats that are happening can really be a lot to handle if you don't have a good dinner in your tummy. So definitely prioritize food before you go. I still stand by the recommendation that you do not need to get there right at 4 o'clock. I think that it's gonna feel really busy if you do that. And so just keep in mind that if you'd like to avoid those crowds, it's okay to get there closer to 5. You're not going to be missing anything. And ultimately, you're going to be able to avoid a ton of crowds and traffic of people just kind of rushing in at that first hour of the party entry. The next thing is fireworks were way less crowded than a normal park night. So I know people say, oh, these parties can be super crowded. It feels overwhelming. Honestly, the capacity is so much more maintained and managed for these parties because there is a limited number of tickets that are sold. And I've known that, right? Like I talk about this all the time. We plan this, but I was shocked to see that we could walk right up the middle of Main Street 15 minutes before the fireworks. And there was no one. There was really no one standing in the street. It was people just kind of starting to gather around the sides. But it was shocking how open Main Street was 15 minutes before the fireworks. So you don't need to stake out a spot the way you do on a typical happily ever after fireworks night. You're not going to be shoulder to shoulder and crunched in the same way. And it was a beautiful fireworks display. So that to me really was an indicator that this is definitely not an overcrowded or oversold event, which made it a lot better and more enjoyable. I will say if you're a rides family and rides are going to be how you want to spend your time, that's great. You're going to see some much lower waits. I think Peter Pan, every time we walked by or we were kind of looking through the app at that point, it was about 20 to 30-minute wait, which, as you know, is not super long of a wait for Peter Pan. That can be an hour plus most of the time. Seven Dwarfs Mine Train similarly was around 30 minutes most of the park during the party. So I would just say if rides are your thing, plan for it to be kind of that 20 to 30-minute wait for those bigger rides, and then it will definitely be a lot shorter for the short, smaller rides around the park. So it is a good way to spend your time. Now, the best advice I was given before I went, and I will give this advice to anyone that I talk to going forward as well, just from my personal experience, is have a plan before you go. There is so much to see and do. There is no way you're going to do it all, and that's okay. It's kind of like going to Disney World anytime. There's so much to see, there's so much to experience. Don't expect that you're going to be able to do all of it because it's just not realistic. The point is, well, you can go back next time and do some of those things that you didn't get to do this time, and that's great. There's always something new to offer at the party, but I would say make sure you have a plan of just maybe a short list of like, what are the 5 must-dos that you have to do during your party? And just prioritize those. And then for the rest of it, just see where it takes you. I mean, we wouldn't have seen Mirabel and Bruno if we didn't just kind of take a little time to just walk and stroll and see what was happening around the area, enjoy the ambiance. Storybook Circus, we never really spend a lot of time back there as a family when we're at the park normally, but it was a really magical place to spend, a little bit of time as the party started. So as I mentioned, have a list of 5 things you really want to do, commit to those 5, but also leave some room to just enjoy and experience and see kind of where the energy takes you throughout the night. We ended up spending probably about an hour at Club Tinsel. Never expected that my kids would want to be at a dance party for an hour, but it was amazing. And so just be flexible with your time and don't be disappointed if you don't do it all. It's really too much to expect to do all at once. So that's my advice. It's my take on our very first very Merry Christmas party. And I think that it was an awesome night. I will say that it felt so magical. It really put us in the holiday spirit early in the season, which was so great. And so if it is something you want to do, make sure that you do get those tickets, as I mentioned, early. People who already have vacations booked during that time, if you have a resort package, a Disney vacation package planned, you will get earlier access to buying those party tickets when they come available, which is usually kind of end of spring, early summer. So don't wait to book your trip so that way you can be first on the list to get your priority date for your party and enjoy. I think it's a party that everyone should attend at least once. I don't plan on this being the only time that we go, but it was really awesome and we had a magical time. So yeah, would love to help with any other questions you have about it. And if you have any of your own favorite memories from Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party, please drop them in the comments, like and share and subscribe. And thanks again for watching.